Since the dawn of civilization, humans have always believed in something greater, a force beyond reason. A watcher in the sky. But what if belief itself, not the gods, is the real creation of humankind? We built myths to explain storms, disease, and death. We built temples to organize power and hope. And over time, belief became truth. Not because it was proven, but because it was needed. Science now dares to ask, is faith a reflection of reality, or a mirror of our fears and desires? This is not a story of right or wrong, nor of heaven or sin. It's a journey through the human mind, to understand why we believe, and how belief still shapes our world. No judgment. No preaching, just questions. And the search for what's real. Long before science, long before history was written, humans looked at the sky and wondered. Lightning struck. The earth shook. The sun vanished and returned. They didn't know why, but they needed an answer. And from that need, belief was born. The first gods were not all-powerful beings. They were reflections of fear, of nature, of hope. Every storm, every death, every miracle became a message. In a world without knowledge, imagination became survival. By naming the unknown, people felt control over chaos. And when stories spread, they became systems, rituals, rules, and gods that governed life. But here's the question science still asks today. Did humans create gods, or did gods create humans to imagine them? Maybe belief was never about truth, but about comfort, and the human need to find meaning in the dark. Since the dawn of humanity, fear has been our most powerful teacher. When lightning struck, when the ground trembled, when death came without warning, early humans searched for meaning. They didn't have science, but they had imagination, so they created gods to explain what they couldn't control and to calm what they couldn't understand. Fear of death became the seed of afterlife beliefs. Fear of chaos became the reason for moral laws. By believing that unseen forces watched over them, people found comfort, order, and safety. From a psychological view, religion was not born from truth, but from the need to survive. It helped humans cope with uncertainty and gave fear a name they could pray to. When tribes grew into civilizations, something changed. Power needed structure, and religion became the perfect tool to build it. Leaders claimed divine connection, saying their authority came from the gods. Kings became chosen ones. Priests became interpreters of the divine, and ordinary people learned obedience, not just to rulers, but to heaven itself. Through rituals and sacred laws, religion turned belief into control. It unified millions under one idea and justified systems of power that lasted for centuries. From ancient Egypt to medieval Europe, faith shaped kingdoms, empires, and empires shaped faith. It was not always about spirituality, it was about order. Because when people believe power comes from the sky, they rarely question the ones who rule on earth. Why do humans obey? Science reveals that obedience isn't just taught, it's wired into our brains. From birth, we learn that survival depends on following those in control. Parents, elders, leaders. Our brains reward obedience with safety and punish rebellion with fear of rejection. Religions amplify this instinct. By framing authority as divine, obedience becomes sacred, disobedience, sign, punishment, eternal. Psychological studies, like the Milgram experiment, show how ordinary people follow orders, even when they harm others simply because authority told them to. It's not evil, it's human nature, and religion understood this long before science did, because the easiest way to control people is not by force, but by convincing them that obedience is holy. Every religion carries a moral code, rules of what is good, what is evil, what must never be done. But beneath the sacred words lies something deeply human: social control. These moral laws kept ancient societies from collapsing. Do not steal, Do not kill. Obey your parents. Simple rules, but powerful enough to create order among chaos. Science calls this collective regulation, a system that aligns individual behavior with group survival. Religion gave those laws divine authority, turning obedience into virtue and guilt into a weapon. When people believe morality comes from a higher power, they police themselves. No guards. No kings. Just faith. And that's how religion shapes civilizations. Not only by teaching people to be good, but by defining what good means. Rituals and symbols, they may look simple, but inside the human brain, they trigger something powerful. When people chant, pray, or move together, their brain waves start to sync. Neuroscience calls it neural entrainment, a state that creates unity, belonging, and emotional connection. A symbol, a cross, a crescent, a sacred sound, can activate memory, emotion, and even trust. It speaks directly to the subconscious, bypassing logic and reaching the deepest layers of identity. That's why rituals survive for thousands of years. They don't just tell people what to believe, they make them feel it. Religion understood this long before neuroscience did, because the mind doesn't only believe with thoughts, it believes with rhythm, repetition, and meaning. What if religion wasn't just belief, but evolution's secret weapon? Before grand cathedrals and sacred texts, humanity faced a brutal, unforgiving world. Survival was a daily battle, not just against predators, but against chaos itself. So, how did our scattered ancestors band together to build civilizations? The answer may lie not in logic, but in faith. From an evolutionary standpoint, faith was a powerful tool for survival. It wasn't just about explaining the stars, it was about surviving under them. Early human societies were fragile, and lone individuals were vulnerable. Faith emerged as a kind of social glue, uniting strangers under a shared banner of gods, spirits, and ancestors. This shared belief system encouraged unprecedented cooperation, trust, and selfless sacrifice. Why? Because when people believe a divine force is watching, they uphold the rules. They act with honesty and loyalty, creating a stable moral framework that allows for the creation of larger, more complex social groups than ever before. Tribes that believed together truly survived together. Anthropologists call this group selection. Belief systems that strengthened unity gave tribes a competitive edge. A tribe bound by faith could coordinate a hunt, defend its territory, and care for its sick more effectively than a group of individuals acting on self-interest alone. Rituals weren't just empty gestures, they were powerful ceremonies that forged unbreakable bonds. Shared myths weren't just stories, they gave life meaning and purpose, transforming suffering into a test of faith and providing a common identity that made collective action possible. So, perhaps religion's primary role wasn't to explain the universe, but to give us the social tools to conquer it. It was a sophisticated adaptation, rewiring our minds to build communities, cities, and eventually, empires. In the long, unfolding story of evolution, faith wasn't a glitch in our programming. It was a feature, an ancient survival instinct written deep into our DNA, one that continues to shape our world today. In both India and Japan, ancient temples stand as pillars of faith, but how they are funded reveals to very different worlds of devotion and economy. In India, faith is a festival. Temples thrive on collective devotion, with donations given freely into hundi boxes during massive religious gatherings. Today, this ancient generosity flows through digital apps, funding rituals from anywhere in the world. In Japan, spirituality is often a quiet, personal transaction. Visitors offer coins for a prayer, but the economy thrives on selling protective charms, omamori, and calligraphy stamps, goshuin. It's a fee-for-blessing model, now evolving with crowdfunding for temple repairs. From India's vibrant offerings to Japan's structured blessings to cultures, to economies, one goal: to sustain faith in the modern world. Knowledge is power, and throughout history, religion understood that first. For centuries, temples and monasteries were the centers of education. They taught writing, philosophy, and law, but only what aligned with their doctrine. Curiosity was allowed, as long as it didn't challenge belief. Controlling knowledge meant controlling thought. If the sacred text held all truth, there was no need to question, only to obey. When science began to rise, it was seen as a threat to divine authority. Books were banned, thinkers were silenced, and new ideas labeled heresy. But it wasn't always out of fear. It was strategy. By guiding what people could learn, religion could shape how people saw the world. In every age, the gatekeepers of knowledge have defined what reality means. And for much of human history, those gatekeepers were the robes of faith. There was a time when questioning the heavens could cost you your life. Yet, curiosity, that spark of human reason, refused to die. When Galileo turned his telescope to the sky, he didn't just see planets, he saw the end of an old truth. Science began to whisper what religion had shouted for centuries. That knowledge comes not from revelation, but from observation. From Copernicus to Darwin, every discovery challenged divine authority. Each new fact pulled humanity further from the idea that gods wrote the rules of the universe. But this was not a war of hate, it was a shift of power. Faith explained why we exist, science asked how, and in that tension, between belief and evidence, humanity learned to think freely. The rebellion of reason wasn't against God, it was against ignorance. Modern religion, subtle control in the age of information. In the modern world, religion no longer rules with crowns or swords, it rules with influence. In the age of information, control has become subtle. Belief now spreads through screens, speeches, and algorithms. Religious messages adapt to modern language, hope, healing, motivation. But behind the words, the same mechanism remains, to shape values, behavior, and loyalty. Politics, media, and culture intertwine with faith, not to dominate openly, but to guide quietly. Even in secular societies, moral debates still echo ancient doctrines. Science may have explained the stars, but religion continues to explain the heart. And through emotion, it still holds power. Today, control no longer demands obedience. It asks for belief, belief that feels personal, but is shared by millions. The methods evolved, but the purpose remains, to give meaning and to manage minds. After all the temples, the prayers, and the centuries of belief, one question remains: did we discover truth, or did we invent it? Science explains the universe with equations. Religion explains it with stories. Both are attempts to make sense of what we cannot fully understand. Perhaps gods were never found. They were created, not as lies, but as tools for survival, as symbols of order in a chaotic world. But now, as knowledge expands beyond ancient boundaries, we stand alone with new questions. Not who made us, but what are we becoming? Maybe the real evolution isn't about losing faith, but learning to live without certainty. The search for truth continues, not in holy books, not in laboratories, but in the space between belief and doubt. So, what do you think? Is truth discovered or designed? Share your thoughts below. For thousands of years, religion guided humanity, teaching us right from wrong, purpose from chaos, and hope in the face of death. But as science grows, a question emerges: can we be moral without God? Neuroscience shows empathy is not divine, it's human. Our brains are wired for compassion, fairness, and cooperation. Morality may not come from the heavens, but from evolution itself, a survival code written into our DNA. Without religion, people still love, still sacrifice, still dream. Meaning doesn't disappear, it transforms. It moves from sacred books to human connection, from divine will to conscious choice. Perhaps the future of morality isn't about worship or fear, but understanding. A world where goodness is chosen, not commanded, where purpose is created, not given. Beyond belief lies a humanity finally aware of its own light.